acting like a pack of people.
Whoa.
Yikes. Hey guys, how's it going? Hey, hi.
Hello,
Hey,
everybody.
hello, my children. 0 viewers. Don't know. Okay. Oh boy. All right. So we're on YouTube. We're on the Twitch.
Twitch
stream.
That's a thing.
Yeah. It always takes forever for my multi-stream chat to load. Anyway, welcome to Survivors of the Last Drive, and we're trying something new. Obviously, we missed last week because of stuff. We will circle back around, I think, to those two films. I was only able to catch up on the one I've actually seen. I watched Ginger Snaps with my mother, and she loved it, by the way. And I've not been able to watch the second film yet. Was it Fried Berry?
Yeah.
And that's, of course, the one I haven't seen before, so we'll get there. But point is, we are back. We are back, baby. We are back. I'm in my underwear, as you can see. Like, I don't give a shit. I got my Jaws t-shirt on. Got this new desk right here. Yeah. Oh, yeah. As you can see, I wear red striped underwear to these things. Always. It's basically just I'm very superstitious that way. Gotta wear the same sexy lingerie every time. But I hope y'all like my office as it's slowly coming together. I'm still nowhere near done, but I got the bookcase over there with all the Blu-rays and some books. I got my second Husky desk. Ooh, yeah, it's good. It forms a nice L with this little slit in between because I like a nice slit. And yeah, we're getting things going, man. We're getting things going. We are back with the angles. I got a new camera, as I mentioned earlier. This is the old camera, and then right over here is the new camera, which you can't. I mean, there's not a huge difference, but I have a big old ass lens on there. I need to get like a 20 millimeter, I think, maybe a 24 millimeter, like something nice and sexy, right over here. Because this 14 is a little too wide for me. You can see my dick, you can see, like everything. You can see my fucking family back there. It's fucking ridiculous. Uncle Jess is looking off from the sidelines like, hey guys, what's going on? So anyway, with that being said, we're gonna be talking about last night's last drive-in. And guys, in the chat, in the comments, let me know if for whatever reason you feel like this is a better time for this. If there's an even better time you'd like for us to do these, let me know. We were getting very low numbers for the immediate post-show last drive-in survivors of the last drive-in. And, I wanted as many people to be able to participate from the Discord, and I wanted as many people from the chat to be able to participate. So I'm thinking this might work. We only have 17 viewers right now, which is about as much as we usually would have, but whatever. Anyway, let's bring in. We got our panel of fucks. And
Rude.
Our panel of fucks. I'm gonna put a little. I need to wait. Let me just hold up. I'm gonna just add source, and let's see, add new source. Let's call this panel of fucks. All right. I'm gonna add that source. Let's see. I'm not good at adding things live on. Okay. Panel of fucks. All right. We're just gonna go ahead and pop that right there. Actually, just
there you
put
go.
that in the. There we go. That uses the space better. I love it. All right. Is Arial the best option for this? Let's see. Can we get something a little sexy?
Comic Sans.
No, we're not gonna use Comic Sans. Fuck you, you fucking piece of shit. We're gonna get Monster.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say next. Wingdings.
Here we go, baby. Make that a little bigger so everybody can see. Oh,
no,
right.
You should have put that up 45 minutes into this. A little callback to a certain movie.
Oh, that's true. Oh well, we're here. Oh, you can add a gradient. Oh.
Whoa.
Oh wait, I can add a little. Oh, a little gradient there. Oh. I can't see the gradient, but because there's no gradient selected yet. Okay. Let's add a little done. There we go. Oh, it looks so gaudy. Look at this.
Whoa.
Oh, look how gaudy it is. Actually, I don't know.
It looks like Panos Cosmatos made that.
That's true.
We've
That's
got
very true.
colors. We've got colors, baby. All right, let's just keep it right there. That's good. That's nice and sexy. I like that. All right. So I'm and the stream itself is part of the panel of fucks as usual. I have not figured out how to get rid of this part. I need to figure out a better way of doing these, but I ran out of time. Also, Movie Loaf, unless something goes horribly wrong, is coming back this week with a review, a spoiler-filled review of Spiral. Potentially other stuff, but I'm not gonna try. One problem I have is I put too much on my plate and then I freak out and I start crying in a corner and I just stop. So we're not gonna do that this time. Nah, not this time. We're gonna go ahead and start things off simple. And so very soon you will be hearing. I need to get better at doing this. We'll be hearing this theme again.
Welcome to Movie Loaf.
Oh, with some technical
So good.
you can put together a dynamite fuck film.
But not right now. That's not this show. Nuh-uh. This is just a normal show. We're going to use normal sound effects. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Shut the fuck up. All right. So, as I was saying, let's get into this. Panel, introduce yourselves. You can see yourselves. I think I'm kind of backwards on your screens, but am I backwards? Does this show as not backwards to you guys? I don't know how things work.
It's backwards.
It's backwards, man. Fuck.
But
this
it's fine.
shitting cock, son of a bitch. Anyway, go ahead and introduce yourselves, starting with Diggum and then moving clockwise on my point of view.
Yeah, I'm Diggum, avid Mandy fan, Mandy fanatic. Yeah, that's it.
You don't have anything else going on. It's just you're just.
I do stuff and things.
I'm really disappointed you didn't rearrange your entire setup behind you to just be all Mandy bullshit.
I know, yeah.
Like the
I did that one time for a Thing podcast. I did the Thing. I just put all my Thing shit behind like a wall of Thing objects. But
I'm really mad you didn't do like the that fake fan documentary from the Donnie Darko bonus features.
Yeah.
All right, next up.
All right, it's
Terry.
okay, sorry, that weird echo. Sorry, this is Terry, Flickering Waves, first time Mandy watcher.
Oh.
Hey there, it's Dan, Italian Dan. First time Dead and Buried watcher, second time Mandy watcher. I loved both of them, by the way.
I'm Joey, and this is first time on both those for me, and I have very differing opinions from Diggum on Mandy.
Oh, and I'm Michael Keene, and I just like to see my people fight. Oh. All right.
No hair pulling.
I guess let's just go ahead and start. Let's do it in order. I think that while I think we can all agree that one movie is better than the other. Well, actually, maybe not. I don't know about that because I have bias in this fight. But I think that there'll be less conversation about Dead and Buried overall. But nonetheless, let's start with Mandy. Mandy, of course, the 2018 film by Panos Cosmatos. It is, I would say, widely loved. Not uniformly loved, but widely loved. It has a very strong cult following. Lots of fans all over the place. Big ups for the Mandy for a lot of people. Also, by the way, spoilers, guys. If you did not watch either of these movies last night or have not seen these movies, I mean, I guess you can watch. I mean, you can watch this. That's fine. That's up to you. It's, free country, presumably. I don't know where you're watching this from, but spoilers. Anyway, so Nicolas Cage. Why is her first name? I can think of Riseborough. What's her first name?
Angela.
No, wait, no.
Andrea.
Andrea.
Andrea Riseborough. For some reason, I was
Yeah.
thinking Alice, and I was like, her name's not fucking Alice, you dumb shit. Andrea Riseborough, who is a total chameleon actress, by the way. I watched. Is it Nancy? What was the name of that? I'm just not good at like female first names currently. But there was a movie where it was that year that actually Joe Bob mentions, where she was in like 3 movies at Sundance. I was at that Sundance, and I watched a whole movie starring her, and I only realized at the end, or like during the credits, oh fuck, that's the chick. That's holy shit. What? Because she's that good at just transforming for a role. She's the hot broad in Oblivion. I don't remember any of the characters' names in Oblivion. Tom Cruise, hot broad, and others star in Oblivion.
I think she's even unrecognizable in like Possessor.
Yes. I totally forgot. I forget every movie she's in because it's just, well, in this movie, Mandy is Mandy, I guess. I don't know if I know. Hot broad is hot broad. Possessor girl is Possessor girl. I don't remember her name in that movie either.
That made this movie so much better for me. Like having seen Possessor, that was like a 5-star movie for me when that came out last year or whatever.
Yeah.
So I hadn't seen Mandy except for the first time. So seeing her this time, I was like, oh man, I forgot all about that she's in this.
We need to do on Movie Love. We need to do a Possessor conversation as well. Don't let me forget about that.
Possessor Uncut.
What?
It's important that it's Possessor Uncut.
Absolutely, yes. Which is the one I own, so that works.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Anyway, so Mandy, starring Nicolas Cage, Andrea Riseborough, and Bruce Wayne's dad, is the story of a couple living in the woods in the Shadow Mountains in 1983. Is that right? 83?
Yeah.
And they are just randomly basically attacked by this horrible cult who basically they want to take in Mandy as part of their cult to be one of Bruce Wayne's dad's sex bitches, I guess. And she disagrees with this and laughs at his penis. And like most emasculated men, he does not take that well. And he burns her alive. Or his cult burns her alive. I guess he doesn't do a lot of the dirty work. But Red, played by Nicolas Cage, is, I think, justifiably upset by this. I think that's a reasonable thing to say. He is justifiably displeased that his wife, who he's lived with in these woods peacefully as a lumberjack, while she paints and reads fantasy books, he's a little mad. And we never really learn much about him as a person, as a character, beyond his base interests, those being Mandy, staring.
He likes staring.
Movies. He likes movies. Loves being a lumberjack, I assume. Loves Mandy. I don't know if I said that already. And
Most of all.
And is really good at weapons. And what follows is a phantasmagoria of wild stuff that you're never sure what's reality, what's not reality, if it even matters, if it's reality. Is this all in somebody's head? Is it all what's actually happening? Fucking who knows? I doubt even Panos knows. And what we get is a rollicking revenge tale full of acid based imagery and bloodshed and drug use and Cinnobikers and nonsense. And that is just touching the very surface. So raise your hand if you are the number one fan in this group. Okay. Raise your hand if you did not like this movie. Okay. How about, okay, raise your hand if you really, really, really enjoyed or loved this movie. Okay. I noticed Diggum didn't love the movie. That's fucked up.
Oh, well, I figured by virtue of being the number one fan that it was...
That was a trick. That was a cheddar
By
goblin
this being
trick.
my, 10th watch,
All right.
I think that was enough to say.
So, I guess, I feel like the best way of doing this would be to start off with the lover of the film explaining why, and kind of than getting. I think, you know what? As much as I want to hear Joey's, like, I'm most interested in Joey's thoughts, I'm gonna go with the three appreciators first and get the general
Save the
idea.
best for last. That's fine.
Because I feel like that's the best way to like build up
Yeah.
to it, and then we can get retorts from there. So dig 'em. And actually,
Yeah.
let me start with mine, and I'll just get mine out of the way. Because basically, I love this movie. I drove to Los Angeles to see it when it came around to theaters, even though it was going to be available on Shudder like mere weeks later, I think. I was like, I gotta see Mandy in theaters. I'd been hearing great things. It was only playing in Los Angeles as far as like my general area. So I had to travel from Las Vegas to Los Angeles, and I saw the shit out of it. And my wife saw it too. She was not as enamored, but only because while she agreed that it was really great, it was a little too traumatic for her, which is fair enough. And I really like Cage's performance. I do feel like Cage's performance gets a little too wild in a few scenes, but he's so stoic for the most part that it's barely even a factor for me. I think there's that one bit right before he breaks the dude's neck, the Cinebiker's neck, where I don't remember what he says, but he says something, and it goes a little over the line for me, but otherwise I'm pretty chill. Oh yeah, we also hit up Slashback Video on that trip. That was a fun trip.
Oh, cool. I've always wanted to go to that.
Yeah, it's really cool. You should feel ashamed for never going. So we also wife in the chat, ladies and gentlemen, wife in the chat. Also, I don't think the chat is showing up here. Or is it? Or did I just not notice?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
not
popping
paying
up on the
attention.
video.
I suck at life. So brain. Yeah, I think that everything for me works in this movie. I like films that don't. I don't necessarily like films that don't make sense, but I like films that, when they don't need to make sense to accomplish their vision, they just go full hog and they don't bother. There's a sense of that to like a lesser degree in Dead and Buried, where at the end the doctor basically says, "Oh, how did I do this? Magic, maybe. Who fucking cares?" And that's to a times the nth degree in Mandy, where I honestly, like, some people will, I'm sure I don't really watch a lot of theory videos for this kind of thing, but I'm sure there's theories about like what takes place in real life, what doesn't. Maybe it's all in Mandy's head, maybe it's all in Red's head, maybe it's a mix, blah, 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 blah. I personally don't think it fucking matters. I think it's meant to be just a blend that you ingest, and that's all gravy, man. I don't think all movies need logic, and this one revels in its lack of logic, and that really pleases the Michael. So that's my general thoughts. I'm sure we'll dig into more details as we go, but dig 'em, please. Tell me why you fucking just love this fuck. I think this is your second favorite movie of like the decade or something?
Of the tens, for sure. Yeah. Behind The Witch, this was probably my second favorite movie of the tens. It is just, you know, when you watch a film for the first time and you go like, oh, this movie was like, it's like they pulled something out of my brain. We're like, we're going to make a movie that you're going to love. This is exactly that movie, because it's just I always describe it as it's a heavy metal fairy tale on acid. And that's pretty much just what the entire movie is. And it just is, and I was talking about this a little bit last night. The aesthetics of the film are such that it is, anyway, I kept typing aesthetic all spaced out, because it is just, this movie taught me to like David Lynch, essentially, is what I would say, where I was like in my very logic-based brain of loving stories and plot. This movie is what taught me to just appreciate the ability to make a film that is only based around the aesthetics and the visuals and the mood and the music and everything like that. And it just formulates this package that it's just a perfect movie for me. The score is such that I listen to it all the time, like at home. It is, and having guitarists from the band Sunno helps that a lot, because I love that band, and it's like this like cool drone metal score. And it is. I was trying to think about it earlier when I was watching it again, because I watched it again this morning before we did this. It just like when I watch it, there's this like great feeling of like sinking into this crazy, insane headspace that I just love about it, where it is just a headspace and a color palette and a mood that I love being in. And that's why I've watched this movie so many times, because I love just being in this weird space and this weird, like, because being in Mandy's world essentially, because like I feel like the movie, like once she dies, we're kind of in her world. Like once Red kind of is fully focused on revenge, it becomes her vision of the world and stuff, and I just love that. I just love being there.
Okay.
Like it's just a place I like being.
It's a mood piece for you.
Yeah, and that's it's the first time I've ever felt a film that was the mood piece was like, oh, like I get it now. Like I understand why it's really the plot doesn't fucking matter this movie at all. Like it's the most basic plot you could probably ever come up with for a movie, but it's a visual feast. It's just an auditory feast. It's a feast of your senses, you know, and that's what makes it a 5-star movie for me.
Cool. All right. Well, with a quick cinematic boom. Terry.
Well, for me, I don't think it. I mean, there may be people out there that could watch movies like this all the time, but I just like having this type of film out there where it's kind of like you're just tossed into it, and you have to make it. You have to work at making it make sense for you to really enjoy it, and it, you know, the way it was visually crafted, as Diggum already made reference to, and of course the score was absolutely amazing. I'm kind of surprised I haven't actually just downloaded it already. I had such a strong response to it watching it last night.
Downloaded legally, everyone.
Of course,
downloaded legally. Don't be dicks.
But yeah. And, you know, Nicolas Cage, I'd recently rewatched Wild at Heart, which was a film that I enjoyed back in the day when it came out. And he's been kind of one of those I think there's with his most recent run of films, a lot of, I mean, myself included, have kind of dismissed the ones that seem like just him going in, doing it for a paycheck. And it was just really cool to see this, where it's kind of all the stuff that people say is amazing about Nick Cage's work these days, but, you know, in a package that is just like this to me is like this the scene in the bathroom. I was just like, I'd almost want to give him the Academy Award just for that scene alone, because it's just so fucking intense. And he just totally, you know, sold it for me right there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I will say as much as there are those moments where I do feel like he goes maybe slightly over, that scene is pitch perfect for me. I think that especially if you've dealt with very sudden shocking grief, it can be very, I don't know if cathartic's the right word, but very relatable of a scene. All right.
Yep.
Dan, we're gonna need this last bit. Let me give you a little bomb. This is our last moment of artillery, building up our ammunition against Joey, who is going to take out his nuclear critical thinking goggles. I don't know what any of that means. So Dan, please tell us why this movie is a fucking masterpiece that literally sucked your dick off.
Yeah, it's really good. It's my second time seeing it, and I was looking at my Letterboxd review because I didn't review it, but I did rate it, and I remember this movie quite a bit. I remember I gave it something pretty high, and I gave it a 4-star review on Letterboxd out of 5. And I remember I gave it a light 4. I think on this watch I would probably increase that to a 4.5. as far as enjoyment. The first time through, I think this movie is kind of slow for a lot of people, even for me. And I like watch slow movies a lot of times. And the first time I watched it, I thought it was pretty slow. And I think you have to like come to terms with this movie to enjoy it. And I think knowing the plot, like on rewatch, really helps out. And this time through, like you can really just sit back and enjoy like all this amazing like cinematography that's going on. There's like the Diggin brought this up like a few times about the film grain, and that looks really good too. And I think it doesn't always look really good in movies. And yeah, I don't know. I like it a lot. Nicolas Cage, I think, is perfect for like the role. I can't imagine anyone else being the character of Red. And yeah, I mean the colors. Like this movie is like really colorful. I was really like surprised. I didn't remember how colorful it was. And for me, like style, like just generally speaking, I would say I care more about style, aesthetic, mood over like traditional plot elements that people will generally, trash a movie for not having. So on a rewatch, I really, really enjoyed it. I would like to, I've seen, I want to go back and watch his first movie, or I'm not sure if it's his first movie, but Beyond the Black Rainbow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because that one, I remember being really slow, like a lot slower than Mandy. But I think maybe knowing the plot on that one too will be good on a rewatch. I got to watch Cobra, his dad's movie, but that's my final thoughts there.
Tombstone.
Tombstone?
His dad's movie Tombstone.
That's another.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about that until Joe Bob mentioned it last night.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also Cobra is a fucking sick. Cobra's really goddamn good. It's actually oddly enough also very much style over substance. Probably the most style over substance of any Stallone movie, I would say.
Yeah.
Oh, I just realized that this is underneath stuff. There we go. There we go. Oh yeah, I guess we should mention for those who don't know anything about the movies behind the scenes, Cage was originally asked to be the cult leader, played by Bruce Wayne's dad, and he was like, "No, I want to play Red." And Panos, in a moment of foolishness, I suppose, said, "Nah, dog, this is for like another someone else. I need you for the cult leader. This is how I talk. I'm Panos Cosmatos." And Cage was like, "Oh no, thank you very much." And because that's the Cage talks. And then a little bit later, Panos had a dream of Cage as Red, and he was like, "Oh God, what did I do?" And he went to his producer and was like, "Did we fuck up? Oh God, did we fuck up?" And his producer was like, "Yeah, we did. Let's ask him, shall we?" "Okay." And they asked Cage to play Red, and and Cage was like, "Yeah, thank you very much." And that was how it went in exact detail. So we've heard from the panel of fucks who liked / loved / worship Mandy as a film. Now we go to and I wish there were more of I love a good bit of conflict. I love my boys to be all conflicting. It makes me happy in my nethers, but we only have one conflict for this film anyway, and that is Joey. Joey, please layeth the smackdown on all of us true believers.
Well, I could be diplomatic and start with, mentioning some things I do like about the movie, but I won't. I'll start with when I first saw the trailer a couple of years ago, and it was widely loved on the Facebook groups and everything else. Talked about a lot. And I said, let's check it out. And what I saw was a bunch of oversaturation with red lights, meme lord performance, art house, tedious bullshit. That's what I thought from the trailer. And now that I've seen the film, I can say I was absolutely correct.
Wait,
it was very boring to me. Why I don't like it? I'll say this. Things were done adequately. Obviously the people who did the cinematography and lighting, they know what they're doing, and it has its moments. As Joe Bob had talked about on broadcast, this movie is like a collage of things. And let's say if there were 50 things, only about 4 of them worked for me. the first 40 minutes is just god awful boring. Like I didn't even want to watch the movie because I was expecting it to be what it was, but my girlfriend did, so we did, and she started falling asleep, and I said, "You better wake up. You got to sit through this because you want to see it. If I'm going to suffer, so will you." And she did, and neither one of us liked it. It was just kind of boring for us. I mean, it had some cool things, but it was all like a pale imitation of something else. I felt like the Cinebikers, okay, kind of cool. And you'd have this build up to something, and then you'd get a minute of payoff, and then you're back to something what I would find just disjointed and whatever. I know people like it for the way it looks, and that's fine and all, but I feel like as if I went to like a haunted house locally and saw a red light and said, "Let's make a movie about it." That's what we got. Let's make a movie around just the visual part. And I know a lot of people like it, but I didn't at all. It was so boring, that to me, I can't express like the parts that people probably liked. I laughed at, like Nicolas Cage in the bathroom was a fun scene, and I laughed my ass off when he started screaming, because of course he did, because he's Nicolas Cage and he's a meme now, collecting a paycheck. And that's what I had quite a few times throughout the movie, just kind of laughing at a point. The scene I did enjoy, it was the one where he tries to get Mandy, I guess to seduce her or whatever, plays the record, and that was laughable. I assume that was supposed to be played as a laugh. I don't know, maybe not. Yeah. But that was part of the thing too. Like, am I supposed to be laughing at this, or am I like, is this just some dude spraying his nonsense all over? Bill Duke, great. I thought the movie was going to turn then, and sometimes you have that where you have very drastically different sides of a movie, and I can appreciate it. And it did that for, like I say, a couple minutes, and then it's back to the same thing. It was just boring, and I don't hate it, but I'm apathetic mostly, and that's maybe worse than hating it. I think 1 star.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Okay. And that was the ultimate negative review of Mandy.
And what I think was interesting was when you were doing the intro to the movie, I feel like it is like you said, like kind of universally loved, and I feel like there is a lot of love for it, but I feel like the people that dislike it really, really dislike it. Like I feel like there's like almost very little middle ground on this movie because of what type of film it is. You know what I mean? It's not like a Army of the Dead or a Saw Spiral where it's just kind of middle of the road and people are going to feel, oh, it was fine. Oh, it was good. Oh, it was bad. It's either going to be like, you were like, oh my God, this is a feast for my brain, or this was the drizzling shits. Like there's going to be no between on that,
Like you go to Letterboxd and you see it, like, the average is like 3.6, and it's because there's so many 1s and so many 5s.
Yeah.
It's pretty much that. Like one guy in his Letterboxd review compared it to like if you had an old familiar bar and then someone came over, bought it out, and corporatized it, and they made everything look dirty that was actually clean. That's what you would get with this movie, type of feel. He went more to that, but it was like a 10 or 11 paragraph review of why he didn't like it. I thought about reading from it, but I won't. But they're on there. It's interesting to go see.
And the responses to all of those.
Shut the fuck up!
That's what you generally hear whenever anybody gives a criticism of Mandy. I'm working on my sound game, y'all. I don't know if y'all can appreciate that, but
yeah, it cuts in and out a little bit, so I don't.
Yeah, I think on our end it cuts in and out, so I'm always like,
well, shit. All right. So, I obviously disagree with the overall summation. I think there's some things that you like. There's just no. I think there's some things that are subjective that there's really no way of arguing against. I liked that. Like the things that you found boring. I think the rest of us just jive with tonally. And I think that's just a matter of some people like different things. It's just a matter of jive. I do think that some things, I think that any criticism of the film as, just being a pale imitation, I think is a bit much. I don't think there's anything you could really point to. I mean, obviously, plot-wise, it's just a standard revenge film. That's a given.
What I mean is, like, when he takes and certain pieces of certain things, and they aren't fully realized from their source, and it's just because that was the thing I forgot to mention. Like all the things that Joe Bob and everybody else talked about, Conan, all the old horror things. I love all those. Great stuff, and I just like I saw they were reaching for it, but it was just like a whisper.
I gotcha. See, to me, that reads more as that he's taking it and melting it into his own pot. I'm not good at analogies. I'm terrible. But he, isn't trying to do a 1-to-1 or even a. Gosh, I guess if it's not a 1-to-1, is it a 2-to-1, a 1-to-2? Anyway, he's not trying to do an exact homage or an exact cribbing of a certain thing. It's kind of like how, and actually to a less degree, but to bring in like something mainstream that everyone kind of would know about. Tarantino does this thing where he cribs from a lot of different sources, obviously, and some are super obvious and in your face, but a lot of them, you have to really like dive in and say, okay, here's the movies that he enjoyed and watched, and here's the little things that he took and then mutated to create this final form. And I feel like Panos does that to an excessive degree where nothing really feels or is what it's based on. It's real, except for the very basic plot. We have baby time. Sorry guys, we got to take a brief moment for baby time. Let's burp. Oh, come here, baby. I don't have on pants, and they can all see my nethers. These are very breathing underwear. I don't remember the brand, but it's very breathing. Come here, bud. Look at this man. Look at this man. There's camera 1. This is really hard to do. There's camera 2. 1, 2, 1. I already messed it up, but oh, little buddy. How's it going, bud? Do you see all those people? All those white men? All those whites? All those whites of West Virginia? He's not amused by any of you. Not amused at all. He's just a grumpskin. A grumpskin. Look at this grump. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Me kiss? You son of a... Dun 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 dun. Just standing.
Hungry.
You hungry boy?
No snack?
Want a snack? Want a... Okay. My God.
Oh, man.
Oh, God. Oh, he's so big. Oh, he's so big. Okay. All right. Sorry about that, guys. We had to take a little baby break. Back to our panel of fucks.
For me, I want to say too, I thought Joe Bob's listing of influences was interesting because those aren't not things that I pick up on them being.
He went really hard on the Death Wish thing, didn't he?
Yeah, because for me, pulls so much more from like black metal album covers and like King Crimson and things like that. Like to me, its influences lie more within fantasy and that realm and that aesthetic more than every film reference he was listing off. Because he's like, oh, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 because they fight with chainsaws, and I'm like, yeah, but not really. Like I get that when other movies have done things before. There's this like weird little tendency to be like, oh, he lifted this from this, and then this is influencing that. But I like, it's so weird that with as many times as I've seen this movie and watched and analyzed every frame of it, those are not the influences that I see in the movie. Like to me, like I said, it's such a fucking heavy metal album of a movie that it's just a that to me is more of what the influence is and where it's drawing inspiration from than any film that I would name.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I feel like some of the, I don't really know that I need like deep analysis from Joe Bob, but some of the I guess context could have gone a little deeper for me. Also, we needed Panos on a TV screen. What the shit? Can we not get Panos on a TV screen? What the hell, guys? Come on.
He may have been allergic since Joe Bob was wearing a cowboy shirt. It might have, upset him too much.
Testosterone. By the way,
testosterone
the fucking
allergy.
Joe Bob was a fucking psychic last night.
I know.
I mentioned testosterone, and shortly thereafter, he talked about Panos's allergy to testosterone. And then what was the other? What was the other one?
When we were talking about like Cheddar Goblin becoming a meme after the movie.
Immediately afterward, he started talking about that phenomenon. It was wild.
That happens like once a week almost. All right, once
when we say something.
Yeah, I guess we're cool.
Yeah, we are pretty cool, actually. That's a good point. We're pretty fucking cool. We're pretty fucking sick, yo.
We're with it.
We're hip, y'all.
With the plot stuff, I feel like this movie does so much upon a rewatch, visual storytelling, that I think just adds so much to the movie. Like with just even the color choice and everything like that. Like to me, one of the most profound discoveries I had in the movie that made me go like, oh, like I'm getting it now, was it had to be on my third or fourth watch when at the end it shows Red and Mandy meeting for the first time. And the way that it's shot and the colors in it, to me, starts to show the, like, when I was talking earlier about this being Mandy's world and this being her thing, where when they're in like a bar at a show, I assume, or something like that, and then it's a very normal color palette. It's very real life. And then when he turns and sees her, it turns to that red, purple color palette, and it starts like emanating from her and showing up behind her. And I'm starting to get like, oh, like this is, showing us that earlier on when this happens, this is her influence over the entire world. Because I can go into this whole thing about how I think that she's, in the context of this movie, she's this like celestial being killed by a thing, and Red is like a demigod of wrath that comes down upon these like mortals that think they're higher up than they actually are. Jeremiah's saying all that, and I think all that is context clues told through this visual storytelling that they do in that moment. And I think it all emanates and starts from that moment, and you can pick up more from there.
What a fucking nerd. I feel that. I think what I really, aside from the mood and the use of emotion, like the way that it's just like this aggressive anger that propels the film forward over loss. What I really enjoy beyond those things, and the cage time, I'll admit, the caginess is pretty dope. The plethora, the menagerie of ways you could look at the film really excites me. I mean, even like this viewing, I thought about, what if this is all just like a visual manifestation of how in love Red is with Mandy at this like concert they're at? What if this is all just like a metaphor for what he would do for this woman, like how much he's instantly in love with her, which is definitely not what it's about. 100% not what this movie is trying to tell, but it allows for all these interpretations, and in my opinion, without jeopardizing the film itself. I think there's a lot of movies out there that the director is really trying to get this one idea across, but he wants to do it in like an artsy way. So you're not really sure what he's doing, and so he forces you to dig in, and that can negatively affect the film if that sort of artsy aesthetic is not needed for the narrative that they're telling, or a director might try to make up for a lack of complexity or a lack of story and try to make you think that it's more than it actually is. And I don't think that's the case either. I think that Panos, as much as I might joke about him not knowing what the fuck the movie's about, I think he knows what he's doing, and I think he knows what he's going for, but he's also allowing the audience in to kind of interpret it for themselves. And I think if you sat him down Casino Royale style in a chair with the bottom holdout, and you started just taking a knotted rope to his bits, he would give you a pretty concise explanation of what it is that he was going for. And then you could go, I disagree, and then whoopsha! But any last words, Joey? Because you're, again, the one...
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I don't necessarily hate it. I understand why people like it, but it's just overhyped. I just don't get it. I mean, I think when I say I don't get it, I actually do get it. It's just not good.
Right. It doesn't jive with your.
Yeah, I mean, because it's just like I say, it's just tedious. Like this took 6 years. It took you 6 years to make this up. Fuck. You could have just, apparently I thought, you would do a bunch of drugs and write this and you'd be done with it pretty quickly. But 6 years, like maybe fry his brain from doing, too much acid and LSD, and that's why we got this movie. Because, I hope it's 6 years before I see another one like it. There we go.
And that is. Wait, let's just. Where's my thing?
3,
I was gonna
2,
say-
1.
Here we go.
I dropped the mic and it was my break.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just sort of like that. I put that in
Overhyped, kind of like The Exorcist.
What?
How dare you?
So, as we've seen, people have different opinions. I think one last word I'm gonna give in response to your criticisms, Joey. I can understand why it's tedious to you. I will say, as far as like it taking a long time to figure this movie out and get it made, I like from a filmmaking standpoint, like the level of detail in this film, just visually, always just gets me going. Like it is so it boggles my mind, like the process of making this movie. It is hella crazy.
Tail lights.
Last this is what we're gonna end on, a little Michael obsessing over a little thing. What really has most ingrained itself in me from this movie is not the aesthetic of the massive mural basically that we get at the end. It's not the aggressive love based revenge. It's not the sick ass battle axe. It's not any of that. It's the fucking taillights. I fucking love the taillights in this movie. The taillights get me going. I love that they, on the back of every vehicle, they just put a massive LED panel, I guess. I don't know. Maybe just a normal light with a gel, something, and just blasted fucking red out the ass. And it's I don't know. It just I never really thought about I thought about taillight use before. Goodfellas has a good example of taillight red, but this is a whole nother level. And it wouldn't work in every movie by any means, but in this movie it works perfectly. And I just really want to shoot a scene with taillights now. That's my big takeaway from this movie. Good or bad, great taillight cinematography. Actually, Joey, what did you think of the taillight cinematography?
They were definitely taillights on a vehicle.
Cool. All right. Let's wait. I think I can transition this. Let's see if this will work.
From the creators of Alien, terror brought down to Earth.
Next up, we are
Fear,
talking about
so intense it will
the
stay
one,
with you
the
to
only.
the grave and beyond.
Welcome to Potter's Bluff.
Dead and buried, everybody. Dead and buried. I was hitting the wrong switch. I fucked up. That's the right switch. There it is. That's the ticket.
Both strangers.
Welcome to Potter's Bluff. All right, so I'm getting used to this setup still. which is what I'm always saying. It's every day is just me trying to figure my shit out. In 5 years, I will have this down to a fine science. I promise you. So, Dead and Buried. I guess just real quick, raise of hands. Did you at very least like this movie? Dig 'em?
Okay, I want to comment because I didn't watch it. I was watching Army of the Dead at the time, and so I'm going to recuse myself from the conversation because I haven't seen it yet.
That is fair. For some reason, I totally forgot.
Yeah, I was watching Mandy in the parking lot of the theater on my phone, so that's I was like waiting for Army of the Dead to start. So
wait, we have a clip for this actually, that perfectly describes, God damn it, what you have done.
If you're fucking on a telephone, you never in a trillion years experience the fuck. You'll think you have experienced it, boy, but you'll be chip. It's such a sadness that you think you fucking a boy on your fucking telephone.
I found a mix. So yeah. What do you think of Army of Darkness?
Oh, you mean Army of
the Dead? Army of the Dead. Sorry.
I think I said before the stream, Zack Snyder knows how to do opening credits, and that's about it.
Oh, we're gonna have a Zack Snyder movie loaf, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, that's exciting.
Because it was a 2-star movie for me. It was fine.
Okay. Well, I haven't seen it yet. I will check it out. I really want to see Wrath of Man, even though I do like Zack Snyder. I really would rather watch Wrath of Man, but we'll see if I can find the time before we record Movie Loaf. But okay. Well, Diggum, have you ever seen you've never seen Dead and Buried at all?
No, I was holding off until the 4K.
Okay. Well, you may want to leave because
I was gonna step away.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want anything spoiled for myself.
Yeah, that's
so I will say good day to you, gentlemen.
All right.
Enjoy discussing Dead and Buried.
Wait, let's get
Mandy rules.
Yeah.
Stanley Kubrick is a hack, and The Exorcist is a terrible movie.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Okay.
Ran away.
Ran the fuck away.
Hold your butt.
Oh, now my thing's all fucked up. God damn it. Oh, son of a bitch. Fucking. All right. We're going to make that a little tiny. There we go. My panel actually looks really neat now. It's a very neat thing. All right. So, Dead and Buried. I don't think we have a lot to say about this because okay, bonus hands up if you love this movie. Okay, all right, okay, this works. I can deal with this. I can work with this. Oh, we got like a maybe.
Yeah.
All right. So Dead and Buried. This is as I said at the top. I am very biased in this film. I saw this very young. I think did Anchor Bay ever release this, or was this always Blue Underground? I remember seeing it on a DVD a long time ago.
Feel like Anchor Bay might have put it out at some point in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Either which way, I saw a very early release on DVD of Dead and Buried, and it changed my entire point of view. This and Dead Kids, and then some Cronenberg and Lynch really informed my filmmaking choices. And actually, those things, and also Gozu, Takashi Miike's Gozu, were basically what I threw in a big pot and farted out for my film in college that no one will ever see because it was a massive piece of shit. But massive effect on me. So I probably love this movie more than it deserves, even if it's like bordering on perfection to more objective eyes. I love it just for the sake of how much it affected me when I first saw it as a youngster. But yeah, it's the story of this town in was it Rhode Island or Maine or fuck, I don't remember. I love this movie. I don't remember.
Small New England town.
It's the small New England town. They do say at one point. Oh yeah. Oh no, because they just say that the doc was expelled from the Rhode Island medical community. So, or the Providence or something. You know. So, either which way, whatever. Point is, it's actually that makes sense. You know what? That makes sense. Because they do have like an almost like borderline Lovecraftian influence going on here. It would make sense for it to take place in Rhode Island, but also such a small state. Anyway, that has nothing to do with anything. I'm spitballing brain shit here. So it takes place in this town, Potter's Bluff, and you know what? Their tourist trade is really just dying. These townspeople, some of them, not all of them, but some of them, and this is like the one point of contention for me is why is this some of them and not all of them? But some of them, they go about killing anyone who passes through, and they then wind up taking those bodies. Well, a mad mortician winds up taking those bodies and rebuilding them as part of his art as a mortician, and then through some mumbo jumbo bullshit, they come back to life, and he gives them new memories and sets them to live in this town, and then kill more people who pass through Potter's Bluff. And we have a sheriff who has as Joe Bob calls her, a gloomy school teacher for a wife. And he's trying to figure out what's happening, damn it. And he's apparently never found out before. Or has he? And that is basically the plot of this film. I need to write things down. I'm going all based on memory here because I am a lazy sack of shit. So let's since everybody had at very least good time, is that accurate? Everybody had a good time with this movie. Let's just start with Terry. Terry, what were your thoughts on Dead and Buried by Gary Sherman?
This was the second time that I'd seen it. I was hoping to wait till the 4K, although last night definitely sold me on the fact that it would be that's pretty rewatchable. Even though I feel like I didn't see it until last year. I constantly was seeing it, like pretty much any horror collection of trailers that came out, I would see that. There's a wonderful clip of Guillermo del Toro talking about this on Trailers from Hell, his early experience seeing the movie. That's quite funny. But it all comes down to, like, if you tell somebody that this is a horror movie, then I feel like the ending might actually come as a bit more of a surprise. But if you were to tell someone up front that this was a mystery and you're think about it as a detective story, I feel like the ending might come to you a little quicker than maybe the filmmakers would have hoped. But I feel, it's in some ways, like Mandy, can be a little slow to get going, and there's definitely an atmosphere that's trying to be maintained, which I think does very well. And then, as I said during the watch party that last night, when we get that big reveal at the end, there's just something just so satisfying about, especially knowing the backstory about that actor and how he was, he died shortly after the making of the film. The fact that he was able to put such a strong performance in that particular scene, it was just a nice cherry on top of it.
Yep. And yeah, he, I would say, God, I forgot his name already. I'm going to bring up the IMDb so I don't fuck up any of these names, because this is one where I'm really bad at names. Is it Jack Albertson? Oh, I had it right too. I was going to say Jack Albertson, and I was like, that's probably not right. I'm probably fucking ruining this, and it's Jack Albertson 100%. As William G. Dobbs. Jack Albertson died. I think Joe Bob said like a month, but my understanding is a few months. Either which way, within a couple months of the film premiering. He went to the premiere with an oxygen tank and a mask, like he was on death's door making this movie. And there's that really, I guess, sad story of James Ferrantino doing scenes with Jack Albertson, and they're doing his side of close-ups during a conversation, and Jack Albertson's like nodding off, and it made him, it really messed him up in those moments, because his father had just recently died of cancer, and the fact that he was that bad, he was just falling asleep and just, barely there, and still just fucking rocked it out of the park, which is not a saying, is extremely impressive. I think that, James Ferrantino on his end is fine in the movie. I don't think he's necessarily like the best sheriff actor man in the world, but he's also more than capable. He is good. He's there to serve a purpose, and he serves that purpose. Meanwhile, Jack Albertson as Dobbs is really the performance-wise the heart of the movie, with Lisa Blunt as his like Robin sidekick, and yeah, it's an impressive performance that does kind of glue the whole thing together. Dan, what did you think of Dead and Buried? What were your impressions?
I really liked Dead and Buried. It's my first time ever seeing it, and I was also almost considering not watching it, but I decided to anyway. That way I can like not blind buy a 4K for once.
It is $40. You
And
can see that, yeah.
yeah, and Jack Albertson, his performance as William Dobbs is like amazing. Like that's the best part of the movie. I do think James Ferrantino, his like character is kind of like dumb throughout the entire movie. He just makes awful decisions a lot of times. So he kind of reminded me of like other characters in Party Line. I think that cop is equally like ridiculous sometimes. And I really loved Lisa. I think Joe Bob said Blunt.
Yeah,
I've always said Lisa Blount, but
yeah, I'm thinking he probably knows more than us. I definitely, I've always thought of it as Blount, but Blount does sound really dumb, so maybe Blunt is the right pronunciation.
Yeah, when I think about this movie though, it's like that's the image I'm gonna think of, is like her character just being, and like her character name in the credits even is like girl on the beach or something, woman on the beach, something like that. And I think that stuff's really cool. There's a lot of really cool stuff in this movie. I guess the only thing, oh yeah, and Robert Englund's in this. I knew someone looked familiar, but I've rarely seen Robert Englund outside of like the actual Freddy makeup. So I don't know. It's really good. It's worth that 4K, especially with the commentary from Troy Howarth and Nathaniel Thompson. So I'm excited to rewatch it, especially with the knowledge of like what happens. I assume we're in spoiler territory. I'd say the most surprising thing is when we find out the wife, like what's happened with the wife. I thought like it's crazy how long ago that probably happened, and then you find the thing out about the sheriff too, Sheriff Dan Gillis, and that blew me away. I wasn't expecting that, so it kept me guessing for the most part, because for the most of the movie I kept thinking, oh well, it's really obvious that the mortuary guy, William Dobson, Jack Albertson, is like the guy doing all this. Like it's really obvious. It's not really a mystery. But there is stuff that you don't see coming. Like I didn't see that ending coming, but I really liked it a lot. So I'd probably give it like just a baseline like light 4. I'm excited to rewatch it with less compression.
Yeah, the compression was not amazing. Actually, real quick, back to Terry for one moment. You mentioned the reaction to people watching it as a horror versus like a detective story. Do you remember when you first saw it, did the ending surprise you?
I feel like it did, and must have made more of an impression than I even thought, because last night rewatching it, I actually forgot that beat at the very end about the reveal about the sheriff himself.
Oh, did you forget about it? Like
I just assumed in my head I had it like the movie ended with him just realizing everything about the town, not realizing about himself.
And you
So,
forgot
I
about
completely
it
missed that.
up until the very moment.
Yeah, when I was rewatching it last night, I totally forgot that final beat.
That's pretty sick. I think that because I hadn't watched this movie in like a decade, which is how I do with all my favorite movies. Is I just don't watch them for 10 years at a time, and then I turn into a werewolf, and I had kind of like I was like, oh, there's a twist here that I'm like not quite remembering exactly, and then I think when he started going around, no, like right before he started going around the town like a nut bar, I was like, oh right, he's fucking one of them. So Joey, give me your thoughts, and also the question I just thought of: did it surprise you?
Well, I liked the movie for the most part. I did like, the atmosphere. I felt just the whole movie itself felt like, a Stephen King adaptation or a Tales from the Crypt episode that was a little long, which I enjoy both those aesthetics. And overall, I was pretty engaged. I started to wither towards the end, but it is like 2 a.m. at that time for me, and after a few beers and stuff, you're kind of ready for it to end. But overall, it was pretty good. I would put it like around 3 stars, 2.5 to 3, and that might seem a little low, but I only put it there just because I didn't necessarily like the very end so much that the sheriff was part of it. I thought that kind of defeated the logic. And we were talking about in the chat, and you said you had some answers for that, Michael. So maybe I just missed something, But overall, it was good. The only thing that I really wish they would have done better at was the one gag. When they filled him with acid, and like the clay head looked just so bad.
Yeah.
And if that would have been a good gag, I think that would have really elevated that part. And because we were really taken off at that point. Because, you had that play back and forth, which is the weird thing. Because, the sheriff's figuring this out. It turns out he's actually one of them. And the doctors helped trying to figure it out too. But he wasn't one of them. And it's kind of like, whatever. I mean, it's not a huge deterrent because the rest of the movie is enjoyable, but it's kind of like, okay, But like as everybody else had mentioned, the stories behind it, with Charlie and Chocolate Factory Grandpa, having cancer, that was pretty. It helps make sense as to his performance for me, because I thought it lacked a little bit. Then as we heard those stories, like, oh fuck, man, this guy was being a trooper to the end. So I was able to look past some of the weaker parts of his performance, though I did like his character. So overall, I mean, I don't know if I necessarily want to watch it again, but this is the type of movie that I like Joe Bob to play, something that's not like so heralded that, I'm an idiot for not watching it, but yet something that's good enough that I might not have enjoyed it by myself, just trying to randomly pick something out. Like the cover art on that, from the VHS of it or whatnot, of the poster, I guess, is pretty cool. And I've always seen it around for a while, and I didn't know what it was about. So overall, maybe the movie was slow, but I had read a small synopsis and it kind of spoiled, the fact that, people were coming back. So it made it easier for me to like take that part of it. But, 3 stars, solid. I enjoyed it.
Okay. As far as the twist, I think, and actually now that I've rewatched it again, and I've been made aware that it does confuse. I mean, even Joe Bob mentions that some people actually right after we talked about it in the chat, he brought up that it confused people. That fucking psychic piece of shit. And so once I get the 4K, I'm definitely gonna go through and pick it apart a bit. But for me, I didn't really have any moments where it didn't make sense. What was the fucking detective's name? I'm gonna go fucking crazy. Gillis.
Dan Gillis, yeah.
There's no part where Dan Gillis, to me, does anything that would suggest that he is not one of them. In fact, I think that the biggest question for me as an objective viewer going in is, well, why is he just now noticing this shit? Like how, like this is never, like they obviously do this a lot. How is this, are they just getting sloppy all of a sudden? Like, to me, if he's not one of them, it actually makes less sense, because suddenly it's like, how the fuck is he not noticing this? Because by not explaining any further, because we end literally as he's realizing what's going on. He sees himself in the film, and then he I think he tears at his face, if I'm not mistaken, and then he sees his hands, and his hands are all fucked up. And
Did he do that earlier? Like, has he never like shaved or anything? Like,
well,
right. That was kind of one of the things that took me out, was the fact that like now everybody's cracking, and it's like, well, you were just redone yesterday, but you've been around the whole movie and nothing's been wrong. Were you going in for touch-ups? You know, that was kind of one of the things. Where like,
yeah, to me,
you know, it didn't ruin it or anything.
I think a lot of it comes down to what they don't explain and where you can kind of fill in the blanks. There's a point where where Dobbs says something along the lines of I'm giving them the memories that I want them to have, or something like that. And to me, that kind of places it as, okay, well, you know, he, I assume, has some who are in on it, who are chill with the whole idea, and so their memories include that information, and there are some who just would not work within this weird bullshit science that he's created. And so they get like special memories. And that is the case of Gillis. It could also be that he, you know, sees Gillis as a part of this sort of almost game. I mean, I know he calls it an art, but he almost treats it sort of like a game at times. And having him be the one sort of wild card makes it more interesting. There's all kinds of possibilities there. But I think, you know, he probably goes in and does touch-ups as needed. He's probably made it so Gillis doesn't even think about shaving, because presumably none of them grow hair. I don't know how they would. So that's kind of how I see it, is like all of these, like this is all, Dobbs is almost like this god figure who kind of does as he pleases. And I mean, even in the end, he doesn't even die really. I mean, he's, what is it? You can kill me. You can't kill me, only make me die. Or
be dead.
Make me be dead.
Yeah.
You know, he's not killed. He's dead, and then he brings himself back with his weird bullshittery. Which, you know, not explained, no problem. That just means less plot holes for me, because I can just fill it right the fuck in myself. But I will, I'll probably go through, I might even do one of those clickbaity videos where it's like, the ending of Dead and Buried explained. And try to suss out where exactly, because I didn't have any problems that immediately sprung out for me. But it would be very interesting to go through and just like do a little autopsy on this movie, because I love it so much. I think I gave it 4.5, because fuck it, I throw that shit out like it's candy on Halloween night, baby. I love this movie. I just really love it. It makes me all warm and fuzzy. I love the cinematography. I don't know if that's the lens, a natural state of the fog, or filters like a Pro
it
Mist or
looked
something.
like he was using like the thing Fulci uses on Demonia.
Yeah. Oh,
you can almost see like the cross, like I don't know what you would call it, but you see it in Demonia.
I wish I had. Where the fuck? Man, I have oh, you know what? It's in the living room. Shit. I have a filter, a black Pro Mist filter that's basically the same thing, but I don't know where it is. Which doesn't help this at all. Yeah, I love that look. I think it's one of the it's one of those movies that's very stylish without being in your face about it. It just there's very smart decisions on the camera side of things, on the set design side of things, or production design, as Joe Bob pointed out, and then also just like little choices, like the guy who has the film camera, who has the massive like 3 or 4 light contraption, and you can like hear the motor thing that he's using to power these lights. The like battery pack I assume he has like as like a massive backpack type thing, and just like that's great for atmosphere. That's great for like when the family's trying to escape. That scene is fucking harrowing, and all shot during the day. Fun fact, because the kiddo couldn't have him after dark, and so they had to do a whole like big tent contraption thing to make it work. Which sounds like
I didn't notice that. That's cool.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I would have never guessed that. That's great.
right. Yeah, it looks just night scene, whatever, fuck it. I think honestly, there's a lot of great scenes. Obviously, the hospital scene with the needle to the eye is probably the most iconic or whatever. And the opening scene is really good, but I love the family scene. It's really, I mean, this is fucking what the world has done to me. Like as a father, it freaks me out, like just to see the kid like freaking out and in danger and stuff. And so the whole time I'm just like, come on guys, get away, get the fuck away, get the fuck away, get the fuck away. And they kinda in the scene they do. So I love that movie. I can't wait to watch it again.
Yeah, that whole scene was great. Like the way they built tension so quickly with new characters.
Yeah.
That you didn't have really any reason to care for outside of they're just the average family or whatever. That was really good. The cinematography was good. There were times like, where they have like, I don't know, I guess it's a crane shot. They're looking down one side and swoops past the corner and it's one of the sheriffs walking around trying to find things to do, I guess. But just little things like that, really good. Like it reminds me of like, how Salem Slot or something looked,
Yeah. I love Gary Sherman's aesthetic. I'm sad that Wanted Dead or Alive made me so bleh. Anyway, on that note, anything else anybody wants to say about Dead and Buried?
I do. I have 3 things, so I'm going to try and cover them quick. Actually 4.
Whoa.
3,
Real
2,
quick.
1.
First thing.
Okay.
First thing is the kids, like their classroom was smoky. I thought that was a decision. Yeah. Someone pointed that out during the movie.
Yeah, I said that. Are they smoking in this school?
The entire premise of the like doctor, no, I guess not doctor, but mortuary guy doing the restorations on the bodies. Like when I was watching it, I got vibes of like BioShock. I don't know if anyone's played that, but there's like a doctor who does like crazy experiments in there, and I just got vibes from that movie or that video game. It's one of my favorite video games. My 2 real things to talk about real quick are about like the gore. Did you think this movie was gory, or did you think it was cut? Like the eyeball scene, I felt like that should have been longer. Maybe it's just because I watch so much like Fulci movies that I'm like, oh, that should be like more intense. But it's really quick, and you can almost miss it. And I feel like a couple scenes like that were that way. The only thing that wasn't that way was like when they are doing the restoration on the one woman's body and the eyeball and stuff. That's all really cool. But I don't know. I felt like it could have been. It felt like it was cut almost in some portions.
Well, as Joe Bob noted, we do not have a director's cut of this film, and it did go through a lot of cutting. I honestly, I'm not sure that there's much more for the gore. To me, it seems like Gary Sherman had a bit of a restrained hand here, and wasn't really going for something that was necessarily gory so much as like shocking in these moments. And a lot of what we do see is sort of kind of fantastical, like the arm and the grill of the truck.
That was great.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, obviously, like the one really not good effect is the head with the fluid in it, and that is one of the more gory moments. So it could be that they just, they also did have limited resources. I know Stan Winston was working on a shoestring budget on this one, so. It could be that they didn't have the money. It could be that they were just being restrained, or it could be that it was cut. I think the eye scene works fine as is. I don't think it needed any more going on. It felt like the natural way to end that scene. But again, but yeah, I don't necessarily think this movie is gory per se. I think it is violent. It's very violent. But yeah, I mean, there wasn't really a lot of gore per se. Anything else? Anybody else?
I really like the scene with the when they are restoring that one woman's body. Like I couldn't tell if they were using like a dummy replacing the eye or not.
Oh,
and then it kind of moves and she looks real, and it just like really blew my mind. I was really impressed with that scene.
I did look into that. So, and I would have to go back and rewatch it because I read this afterwards. So I don't have like the exact points, but basically it's a mix of dummy that Stan Winston made that was extremely lifelike, to the point where they weren't sure at times if it was real or not when they were like going in to shoot, like if they were about to shoot the woman or the prop, which is evident. I mean, it looks very real. But they did do a little swap out where the doctor's hand, or the Dobbs hand, or arm moves across screen and blocks her very briefly, and they just did a quick swap out. And I guess they shot it like 17 times to get it right because it was such a quick movement. But it is a mix of dummy, very realistic dummy, created by master Stan Winston, and the actual actress.
Which is so weird because like that dummy's so good and that clay head is so bad.
Yeah, well, I think I think it's knowing where to pull your resources. That's definitely a more important scene than the doctor getting his face all fucked up. And these effects are so challenging that if you think about it, there's only a few throughout the film that are really like, whoa, holy shit. And the level of detail and skill necessary for that on this shoestring budget, presumably with very limited time on set to take care of any issues. I'm honestly surprised it's the only shot that looks like garbage. So I would say not a good mulligan. Give him a mulligan.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I was fine with it. It reminded me of Fulci's Touch of Death. Like, there's a head melting scene in that one. Very similar appliance.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, everybody liked Dead and Buried to varying degrees. Some liked, some loved. I guess somewhere in between. Hopefully we can get more folks on. Brian was doing family time or some bullshit this last drive-in. Some
it's just not dedicated
horse shit. But we did all survive the last drive-in. That is, but I think this might be better. It might be better to do it the next day. Especially for
I'd much rather, because I get so late when we get done. It almost ruins my whole next day for until 3 o'clock.
I feel like this way we're not rushing through, and we can kind of just like talk it out and not be like, fuck, it's getting late. Especially me. I'm such an old man now. So we did get a question in the chat from Scratch Burno. Which episode or movie have you guys enjoyed the most so far this season? What season is this? This is season 3?
3.
I'm going to really quickly, I don't want to, even though we're only like 5 episodes in, I don't want to forget because I'm really dumb. All right, so we had, first episode was Mother's Day and House by the Cemetery. Second episode was Audition and Class of 1984. Third was Bride of Reanimator and Next of Kin. Then Ginger Snaps and Fried Berry, and then of course this one, Mandy and Dead and Buried. Which I'm kind of shocked, by the way, that he gave Dead and Buried 3 stars, but then Next of Kin 4 stars. Like, I really like Next of Kin, but I feel like they're pretty similar in quality, and I would actually probably say I prefer Dead and Buried. But I don't know, that's the Joe Bob way, I guess. That was also the one where it was just like, oh fuck, it's so late. God damn it, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So what did you guys think? What's been your favorite episode or individual movie, if you can't decide on an episode?
Audition.
Yeah, I mean Audition's fucking sick as hell. I was surprised how many people hadn't seen Audition. When like on Twitter and stuff, like so many people were checking it out for the first time. Like Dead and Buried, I understand a lot of people not having seen it, but Audition just seems like to me that always feels like one where I shouldn't even bring it up because like everybody knows Audition, but apparently not the case. Terry, you gotta.
Was going to say last week's episode, but the more I think about it, I may have to go ahead and give it to week 3 with Next of Kin and Bride of Reanimator. Just slightly over last week's.
Okay. All right, Dan. Got to give me hard answers.
Yeah, I skipped out on Next of Kin, so I can't really give a good. But the thing is, I didn't really love the movie beforehand. I think that was Bride of Reanimator. So I would say this is the strongest night, or last night was the strongest one. so far for me because I wanted to rewatch Mandy. I was thinking about buying it, so it was nice to rewatch it. And then, yeah, I really liked Dead and Buried a lot. So this was my favorite episode.
Yeah, to me, it's a toss up between the audition, Class of 1984, and this episode. Probably, I guess, I would actually say this one because I do like Class of 1984. I definitely like Dead and Buried much more than that, though. Even though, like, all great episodes. Has there been any wild shit that I'm forgetting as far as, like, segments? Because, like, this one, we had the Cheddar Goblin riff. I feel like am I forgetting something that they did that was weird or wild?
I don't know, but that Cheddar Goblin, like that when that transitioned into that, I didn't believe it was happening, and then all the camera angles went crazy on Joe Bob, and I laughed for like 5 minutes straight.
That was much better than the actual movie for me.
Oh, and a quick shout out since we missed last week, and we will talk about last week. I haven't seen Fried Berry yet, so I can't really give an opinion. Maybe fold that into the next episode. But Dr. Wolfula got a Silver Bolo last time. Holy shit. A lot of these Silver Bolo awards, I don't actually know who the fuck they are. They're great. Nothing wrong with them. Oh man, Felissa Rose was, God damn, I missed a whole lot, didn't I? But like, I'm sure Nightlight sounds good. I've never listened to that podcast. Yeah, I'm just really happy for him. He deserves it. I'm a patron of his. I don't really do any of the live stuff. I just give him money because I appreciate him.
Me too.
I'm very, very happy for Wolfula. It's weird when someone you like actively watch or know of, like when Dead Meat got the Silver Bolo. I was like, oh my god, that's amazing. But good for him. And yeah, I think the only thing missing from this episode was a guest. Like, I think having Jeffrey Combs for Bride of Reanimator was really great. Who was the other? Let's see, we had. Oh, you know what? In the audition segment, Yuki's the
whole thing with helping translate.
Yeah, that was fantastic. That was a really good segment. I think this segment kind of wins out just because it's more just like what the fuck is happening. But the Yuki segment is a classic of Joe Bob, definitely. Oh, and you know what? Eli Roth being in for Mother's Day is also great. Like, I think that a lot of people got a little bit more respect or at least appreciation for Eli Roth through that segment, which I was very happy to see because I've always had that kind of thought about Eli Roth that he, even when he doesn't make movies that I like, he is like the guy who knows his shit and he's really, he loves these movies, and it's nice that, more people can see that. So that makes me really happy. So overall, just great stuff. I think this season's been really solid so far. Do we know how many episodes there's going to be? I know we do. It's more.
There's usually 10, I think, isn't there?
Probably. I don't know. Shit, fuck. But I really, I'm really happy so far. I feel like my only qualm so far is I feel like Darcy has been a little sidelined a bit. Not like to an aggressive degree, like not an actual negative, but like if I could think of one thing I'm kind of on is, I don't know. There's just been, I don't know. Darcy's been a little not weird. That's a weird way. That's an off way to put it, but she just is sitting in the corner being kind of disgruntled for the most part. And I feel like there's a better use of Darcy this season. But
according to IMDb, there's going to be 2 more full episodes left. Looks like so it has it marked by movie, and then 9 and 10 would have been this week. So you have 11, 12, 13, 14, according to IMDb.
And maybe they're going to do more throughout the years we get closer to the.
Yeah, honestly, I would prefer if we would do that, either split it up like this into like 1 movie a week, because that's a lot more manageable, I feel, and not as much of a time sink. And I like the marathons because that's like, when it's Christmas or Halloween or some time where you're going to have some days off, and obviously it's colder weather or whatever, to really, try to go through the 4 movies, or at least, make it to daybreak and fall asleep and wake up and fall asleep and wake up. It's kind of fun.
I agree with that. Yeah, I honestly the original Last Drive-In marathon is one of my. Oh no, Dan is dead. Oh, he's back. The original Last Drive-In is one of those that just it's one of my favorite memories is contending with that and like making it through. It's one of my proud achievements is I made it through all the movies. I didn't fall asleep once. Definitely wanted to, Daughters of Darkness, but I did not do it. I did not do it. No matter how much that fucking swamp fuck beast thing wanted me to. I said, no, sir. I did not fall asleep. So, with that said, I don't think we had any more questions or anything yet.
One more thing before I forget. In Mandy, I had not seen Night Beast before, but Night Beast is in Mandy. And now I want to rewatch it.
We'll have to do something to like dig into these like mini movies that like I haven't covered, but we need to talk about on Movie Loaf, which you're all welcome to be on. God damn it, I'm making this a family affair because I love incest plot lines. So, anything else? Anything else, guys? You guys good? Dan, everything? You good? All right. Yeah. Yep. All right. Let's go away. Fuck, I didn't do the credits again. God damn it. Okay. Well, for those of you who are new to the Patreon, I apologize. Your name's not on the credits. And for those who have left me, well, you got a little extra bang for your buck, I guess. Not that I don't know that anybody actually reads the credits. I don't know. But either which way, guys, you know what? Fucking go watch a movie, y'all.